The JFK files, what they never wanted us to know. What if the truth about JFK's assassination was never what we were told? What if the story that's been sold to the world for 60 years is missing its most critical pieces? In 1963, President John F. Kennedy was gunned down in Dallas, Texas. The official explanation? One man, one rifle, one impossible shot. Lee Harvey Oswald, the lone gunman, the case closed, but the world never truly bought it. And now, with the declassification of over 80,000 pages of secret files, we're closer than ever to understanding what really happened that day and why the truth may have been hidden for decades. Let's start with what we've always been told. On November 22, 1963, JFK is riding in a motorcade through Dealey Plaza. Shots ring out. The president slumps forward. The motorcade speeds away. Just hours later, Oswald is arrested, found in a movie theater carrying a revolver. 2 days after that, he's gunned down by Jack Ruby, live on television. Before Oswald can speak, before any trial, before any answers. The Warren Commission, established by President Johnson, concluded Oswald acted alone. No conspiracy, no second shooter, just a disillusioned ex-Marine with a rifle. But from the very beginning, the story didn't add up. Problem number one, the impossible shot. According to the Warren Commission, Oswald fired 3 shots in under 6 seconds from the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository. But expert marksmen, trained snipers, struggled to replicate the shot under controlled conditions. And eyewitnesses on the ground? Some reported hearing shots from behind the grassy knoll, not from Oswald's position. Multiple directions, conflicting timelines. Could Oswald really have done this alone? Problem number 2, Oswald's mysterious Mexico trip. Just weeks before the assassination, Oswald took a strange trip to Mexico City. He visited both the Cuban and Soviet embassies, allegedly seeking travel visas. Why would he do this? Was he acting on orders? Was someone pulling his strings? The CIA knew about this trip. In fact, they had surveillance on Oswald in Mexico. But that intel was never shared with the Secret Service or Dallas police. Why? Problem number 3. The CIA knew more than they claimed. The newly declassified documents confirm that the CIA was tracking Oswald long before the assassination. They had a file on him going back to his defection to the Soviet Union in 1959. They monitored his activities, his mail, even his associations with pro-Castro groups. And yet, when JFK's motorcade route passed right by Oswald's workplace, no red flags were raised? Either someone failed spectacularly, or someone knew exactly what they were doing. And that brings us to the real bombshells. Among the files are transcripts from James Angleton, the CIA's longtime head of counterintelligence. Angleton admitted the agency had received intel on Oswald, but it was buried. He even described the agency as not functioning properly at the time, and warned of rogue operations within their own ranks. This wasn't incompetence, it was chaos, and possibly something darker, but the threads go deeper. The files also detail Operation Mongoose, a CIA initiative designed to remove Fidel Castro from power by any means necessary. Sabotage, assassination, collusion with organized crime. And guess who supported pro-Castro policies in public, but may have been playing both sides? Oswald. He publicly aligned with the Fair Play for Cuba Committee, yet interacted with anti-Castro Cubans. Why would one man be so entangled in both sides of an underground war? Unless he was being used. Unless he wasn't acting alone. Even Jack Ruby's role is murkier than ever. The declassified files reveal Ruby had connections to organized crime and intelligence informants. He wasn't just a random nightclub owner in Dallas. Some speculate he was ordered to silence Oswald to keep him from talking. And now we have files that hint Ruby may have feared for his own life in prison. He told guards he was part of something much larger, but just like Oswald, he died before any answers came. So what are we left with? A president assassinated in broad daylight. A suspect with a strange past and missing connections. A government that knew more than it admitted. and documents buried for 6 decades that raise more questions than they answer. This isn't conspiracy theory. This is what the documents say. And if the CIA really did suppress key intel, if rogue agents operated in the shadows, then the story we've believed for 60 years was never the whole truth. We may never know exactly who pulled the trigger. But thanks to these declassified files, we know this. What we were told was not the full story. And the truth? It's still fighting to be heard. This has been History's Dirty Secrets. Subscribe for more stories they never wanted you to hear.